Oh, okay, fine. Okay. Hi, everybody. So good to see so many familiar faces. I don't. Is my name on the paper? Everybody knows who I am. Dina.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Your name is
some of you I
right.
don't know. So.
Yeah, you're very famous. You're right here.
And there. Okay, lovely.
Your name is
That's
God's chosen house.
We're all God's chosen house. We'll get there. We're getting there. Okay. So yeah, so happy to be here. Is everybody comfortable with me sitting, standing? Because to me,
Whatever
it's no
is comfortable
different.
for you. Whatever makes you smile.
Okay, so this is fine. Okay, so we're going to learn today about, as you can see, the halachas of the Beis HaMikdash. And the reason why we're learning now the halachas of Beis HaMikdash is because we're in the time frame of when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. Now, up until recently, this time was more a time for mourning and getting more as we get to the 9 days, even more so. But now that we are so close to the Geula and so close to the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash, we want to show Hashem that we are getting ready to build the Beis HaMikdash. So you might think, yes, but you know what? There is a according to one opinion, it's Mashiach's going to build the Beis HaMikdash. So, and us women, like, are we builders? Surely it's the men who are going to build the Beis HaMikdash. So, like, why do we have to learn this? Or why are we, we'll get there. Why are we,
Just saying that.
it's just women are not usually builders, that's all. So, actually, when Yechezkel, the prophet, Yechezkel Hanavi, Hashem came to him and told him, he showed him like a vision of the third Beis HaMikdash, and it was very complicated. And till this day, we actually don't know the laws that we're going to be learning in the Rammam are more following mostly the laws taken from the template of Shlomo HaMelech's first Beis HaMikdash, because even in the time of Ezra, when it came time to build the second Beis HaMikdash, they couldn't follow. Yechezkel's vision was too convoluted. They couldn't make head or tail of it. So, and Yechezkel said the same. 1 second. Yechezkel had the same claim and question that I'm proposing to you now. Why, if right now we're not building the third Beis HaMikdash because it wasn't even the second Beis HaMikdash, why are you showing me this? Why are you telling me about this? And Hashem said the follows. He said 2 things. Number 1, by learning about the Beis HaMikdash, I will consider it as if you built the Beis HaMikdash. So we may not physically be building, but we're going to see that even in the Rambam's laws, actually the mitzvah to build the Beis HaMikdash applies to men and women equally. You'll be happy to know. What's your name? Ilana. You'll be happy to know. So that is one way that we can join in the building of Beis HaMikdash by learning about it. And 2, secondly, not only is it considered above, but actually it's bringing the time to build the Beis HaMikdash closer. Us learning right now literally is moving the clock up in heaven to the time where we will build the Beis HaMikdash. So that is very, very, this is powerful. This is amazing. Okay. So,
did Hashem say explicitly, because this is the third Beis
HaMikdash? Yeah, this was a vision of the third temple. Exactly.
So
No, it was after the first one had been destroyed. But it was already futuristic. Yes.
So, and the second one had not yet
been built. Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Incredible.
Yes.
Do you have the language?
The language? Sure.
But he said.
I didn't write down the exact, but you can look up in the Cheskel and Google it. It's all there. Okay, so you have here a printout of the entire first chapter of 8 chapters. The first of 8 chapters of Hilchos Beis HaBechira. And you may be wondering, why is it actually even called Hilchos Beis HaBechira? Are we not talking, we keep talking about the Beis HaMikdash. And here, the Rambam is calling it Hilchos Beis HaBechira. So that's not to confuse you. There was a special reason why the Rambam chose that. And we know what does Bechira mean? Bechira Chavshit? Choice. Right. So Bet HaBechira, chosen house. God's chosen house. So this is what we are studying. And the reason why the Rambam chose to call it this is because he took the pasuk, the quote from Devarim, chapter 12. There are two pasukim that mention that Hashem is choosing this place. Pasuk Hey and Pasuk Yud Aleph, 5 and 11. And they're actually very, very similar pasukim, but they're not exactly the same. So I had to read it like I'm not joking, like 7 times. What is the difference? To read it over and over again. So I'm going to read the two pasukim. One of them refers to the Mishkan in Shiloh before the Beit HaMikdash was built. Even when, as the Jewish people came into Eretz Yisrael, it took 400 plus years until they actually built the Beit HaMikdash. So up until then, they had a Mishkan, and it was in different places. Okay, so the Mishkan in Shiloh was the longest standing Mishkan. It was 369 years, and it was actually considered semi-permanent. It did have walls, stone walls, not curtains and beams as the Mishkan in the desert had, and as the other Mishkan, Mishkanot, how do you say plural of Mishkan? Don't usually say that word. So it was 70% also in length of years and in how it was built, and therefore one of the psukim in the Torah is actually referring to the Mishkan in Shiloh, that Hashem's presence was actually more there than in the other Mishkans that were lesser duration. Meaning that at that time that they were offering sacrifices in the Mishkan in Shiloh, they were not allowed to offer sacrifices anywhere else in Eretz Yisrael. Just like in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, they were not allowed. In fact, once the Beis HaMikdash was built, they were not allowed to offer sacrifices anywhere else until today. But it's interesting to note that Shiloh is hinted at in the Torah, and that it was this. So let's see the pasuk. I'll just quote the pasuk because it really is coming to explain to us why the Rambam is choosing to use this word. It's not going to be the complete answer because we're going to quote another pasuk that is then going to say why. Well, we should still call it the Beis HaMikdash. But let's see the two pasukim. So where it says, this offering sacrifice may you do only in a place that Hashem your God shall choose. To place His name there, you shall bring there your burnt offering. So this is in Devarim, and this is referring to where Hashem is talking about when you come into Eretz Yisrael, you shall destroy all the idols, right? Because the nations are all worshipping idols. You must burn and destroy all their idols, and then you shall build me a home, and there you shall bring offerings. So that is telling us that only in the place which Hashem your God shall choose. So here Hashem is using a word that the Rammam is saying, this is very significant that this place Hashem is choosing, it's not stum. And because Hashem is choosing this place, it's halachically significant enough that the Rambam will choose this name rather than Beit HaMikdash, which comes from the other pasuk, which is actually the main pasuk where we derive the mitzvah to build the Beit HaMikdash. Does anybody know which pasuk that is? It's from when we had the Mishkan. It's so you shall make for me a mikdash. This is where we get the name Beis HaMikdash from, right? And
Does everybody consider that to be a mitzvah or just the Rammam?
Everybody considers that to be a mitzvah.
Everybody is considered to be a mitzvah in Gashmias?
In Gashmias. Yes, there is a mitzvah in Gashmias. The truth is, once the Rambam set down, that's why we learn from the Rambam, because once the Rambam set down the mitzvahs, actually nobody questioned. Until then, they did. But there is a difference of opinion between the Ramban and the Rambam.
Yeah.
But the difference of opinion here is what was the purpose of the Beis HaMikdash? Why did Hashem want a house? For what reason? There's got to be a reason. Nothing's done. Any guesses? So actually,
a dwelling place in this world.
That's the Ramban. You chose the Ramban. The Ramban says the whole purpose of the Beis HaMikdash was that Hashem Shekhinah shall have a place to dwell in this world. Now, the Rambam, to put emphasis in the right place, he disagrees and he says the main purpose of the Beis HaMikdash was to bring sacrifices. And Rambam, yes, and he quotes this passage which I just quoted, that the offering sacrifices may you do only in the place that Hashem your God shall choose. The place is named there. You shall bring there your burnt offerings. But one second, doesn't it seem like the Ramban, where it specifically says, "You shall build me a holy place, v'shachanti b'saycham, and I will dwell there." Doesn't that seem to be very specific? The mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash, right? And v'shachanti, the Shekhinah dwelling there, is a purpose. It doesn't seem to come together in the same passage. So why does the Rambam not agree with that? Why does the Rambam not consider that the main thing? And when we look through the halachas, it's going to become relevant to how the Rambam qualifies a mitzvah. And I'll give you one example. I'll answer the question in a minute. I'll just give you one example why this is important. The Rambam is going to list the kelim soon in number 6. He's going to list the kelim of the Beit HaMikdash. He's going to list the menorah, the main kelim, right? And give them to me, some of them. What do we have? Menorah,
The golden altar.
the shulchan,
The altars.
the 2 altars, right?
The
Hands.
The
basin.
So he doesn't add the kelim that are used to do the avodah of those things, but he does add. We said the menorah, but he does add the ramp and the kiyah. The ramp is considered separate. He says there are 7 kelim, but he misses out something very crucial.
Aron HaKodesh.
Aron HaKodesh. It does not even mention the Aron HaKodesh, which we would consider maybe the most important of everything in the Beit HaMikdash. There's no mention. Later we come to chapter 4. Yeah, there, so not together with other kelim, there does he talk all about the Aron HaKodesh. Seems very strange. Why?
Separate category.
The Rambam.
The Rambam. We're mostly going to be talking about the Rambam. Yeah. So it's connected. It's connected to the answer of how the Rambam sees the purpose of building the Beit HaMikdash. So the difference is like this. The Rambam, Mishnah Torah, is a list of what?
Mitzvahs.
Mitzvahs. And then each mitzvah has many, many halachas, right? So the Rambam is focusing on our mitzvahs. What we need to do, the mitzvahs that we need to do. And so according to him, the whole point of the Beit HaMikdash is what? What we need to do, which is what? The sacrifices. It's in fact, these laws of Beis HaBechira are there's 8 chapters, but the section, comes last in a list of 8 sections that come under the book Avodah, the Sefer Avodah. So it's interesting. The Rambam has how many books in the Rambam? Yeah, 14, right? There are 14 books of the Rambam.
All of this.
Now, let me ask you a question. What are you more excited about? Are you more excited about building the Beis HaMikdash, Hashem's chosen house? Or can you just not wait to bring that animal I don't know, so maybe some of you, right? Animal and bring it up as a carbon. So many people are like, don't talk to me about animal sacrifices. I don't want to know. We're not going to do that. That's what's that word? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You don't want to kill their animal self.
No, the Rambam calls the entire book Sefer Avoda, the work which is the main work was bringing the sacrifices. And one section in this book. Interesting, right? So you see where the Rambam's coming from. He's coming from what's our job? Okay. Now the Ramban, on the other hand, what's his focus? Yes. His focus is from up down.
From above to below.
From above to below. So he sees that what's the main thing? What's the whole point about all this? That the Shekhinah should come down. And then we do what we have to do to bring the Shekhinah down. It's just a matter of emphasis and not arguing and like all everything in the Torah, all arguments, it's really a matter of emphasis. So how does it answer the question? Why is the Aron not included in the Kelim? Why is it completely different? Different inside a different chapter completely. That explains it. Because if you think about it, all those other things that we mentioned, the menorah, the Kohen Gadol had to go and light the menorah, right? Every single day, twice a day, morning and evening, right? The animal sacrifices, right, in the morning and towards the evening. The incense every day. I think it was just once a day, right? Not twice a day. Okay, that I check out.
Sacrifices every day.
But so the main one, the main ones were actually twice a day. Yeah. So mincha, I think maybe it was called mincha offering. Yeah, the Tomid, that was like the main one. Once. Okay. So all of those are to do with what the Rambam considers part of building the Beis HaMikdash. The first mitzvah. Okay. Let's look inside so you understand where we're coming from. Okay, the first page, yeah. Can we share? Some people need to share. So the first page is just giving us an introduction as where this fits in to the Rambam's laws that we spoke about already. But if you go down to the bottom, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see that? The last paragraph. And those 6 are the mitzvahs that are included in these Hilchos Beis HaBechira. In the laws of the chosen house, there are actually 6 mitzvahs that are connected to the laws of building the Beis HaMikdash. So the first one is what? Anybody following?
Build it.
To build it. To build it. Number 1, literally, to build it. But there's more.
Where are you?
Oh, the last paragraph on the first page.
On the first page?
Yes, the first page. So.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay, then you have not to build the altar with hewn stone, not to ascend upon the altar using steps, to fear the temple, to guard it on all sides, and never to cease to watch over it. Those are the mitzvahs that come under Hilchos Beis HaBechira, God's chosen house. Okay? So, according to the Rambam, is there a mitzvah to make the menorah? Is there a mitzvah to make a mizbeach? No. There is no separate mitzvah to make these kelim, which is... Sorry?
Not for us.
Which mitzvahs are for us. Mitzvahs are for us. Who else are they?
I mean, you were told to.
The Rambam is only discussing mitzvahs for the whole Jewish people. Yeah. Any one-time mitzvah is not included in the Rambam's mitzvahs. Okay?
But it's what do they call a cheskas mitzvah? Like building a sukkah is not a mitzvah, but you need to build a sukkah and be able to do the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah.
Great example. I love that. Exactly. It's like part of the mitzvah. The actual mitzvah midaraisa is to dwell in the sukkah. If you don't make, but that's why you see people build their houses with already a sukkah in it. Oh, isn't that what they're missing out? They're not doing the mitzvah. They're doing the mitzvah by just sitting there, opening up that little sky light, whatever, and they are 100% doing the mitzvah.
It's good.
Right. So the mitzvah is of doing all the avodah is included. The Rambam includes it in the mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash. Now the Aron was not part of that. The Aron is separate in a separate chapter because it's not part of the avodah. It's a representation. It's holding Hashem Shekhinah. Hashem Shekhinah comes down on the Aron. Now, in some sense, you could say, well, when fire comes down on the Mizbeach, that's as Hashem's sign that He's accepted, and it's so. But mainly the Shekhinah is, in the Holy of Holies, which is why we were not allowed to go there. Okay.
We also just one of the criteria of the Rambam is that everyone has to do it, and in this case, only to the
Yeah, but all the things, 99.9% of people didn't do anything in the Beit HaMikdash because it was a Kohen's job, and even amongst the Kohenim, they had their watches, and maybe once in a lifetime, maybe they did. Because if there were many people, how many times did they get? Right? I don't know, but I never watched that. Okay, so let's.
You don't know that.
Not things I get excited about. Okay. All right. So, it came out all together, not like separated. So that makes it a little challenging.
There's a little number you can see.
A little number. So the numbers are what?
What are you looking for?
They're in blue.
What are you looking for?
Oh, I see. Like 1, 2, 3. Got it. Okay, yeah. In tiny, you see numbers on the left-hand side. So that's each halacha. Each number is a halacha. Okay. Okay. Great.
So you're at the top of the second page?
Yeah. Now we're at the top of the second page.
And there's a
So all that was really an introduction. Okay. Sorry, it's my list. Okay.
So what is this first page? Is this all in the Sefer or the?
Yeah, you're right. You literally have the text of the Rambam right here.
That's exactly what.
This is exactly. I did not change it one iota. Okay.
It's like an index.
And then
Yeah, table content. The first page.
no, the first page is giving you the structure of where this comes in the Rambam's.
This is not the Rambam. The Rambam starts at 6 months.
No, the Rambam does. If you go
Just
to
the-
Rechov HaPalmach, you'll see that.
Just-
Yeah, the Rambam includes
like-
that. Yes. Yes.
So all of those mitzvahs are in the halachas base of the Chira, everything that's on that first page.
Well, it was at the bottom, the 6 mitzvahs. The first is telling you, it tells you a list of the other, what they call like, not chapters, because there are chapters within the topics. The other topics, before we get to Beis HaMikdash,
Within the Sefer.
within Sefer Avodah. Exactly.
Oh,
So we didn't go through them, but you can see the Yom Kippur service, for example, right? Laws of entry to the sanctuary. Because it's the 3 weeks, we're focusing on the Beit HaMikdash itself. But if you go to one of these the first chapter, for example, where it says the laws of, I don't know if it's first, the laws of the Kalim, it's called Kalim, but I went to it because I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute. The Rambam just said that the Kalim is not a separate mitzvah. So there's one unit that's called like the Kalim or something. I'm like, I was so confused. Anyway, I went back there and I looked, and it's not the Kalim like we think in the no. It talks about laws of the oil and things connected with Kalim that they used to do the avodah or the incense, how it was to be made, how it was not allowed to. A lot of them are what they're not allowed to do. Okay, so let's go back to page 2 now. Okay, so you can see from the very first line how what we said before about the Rambam's, the way he looked at it. It's a positive commandment to construct a house for God, prepared for sacrifices to be offered within. He makes it very clear from the beginning, that's what it's for. Then he goes to say, we must celebrate there 3 times a year, as it says in Shemos, and you shall make me, right? But it said, and you shall make me a sanctuary. And you know the Chassidus, I think most of you are probably familiar now with, the ending of that is V'shachanti b'socham, not b'socho, which would be grammatically correct, which means in it, b'socham, in them, in every single Jew, we have an obligation to build a holy place within ourselves that Hashem will feel comfortable in us and at home in us. Yeah. Okay, so the Mishkan constructed by Moshe is already described by the Torah. I'm using not the Anglo, if that's okay with you, words, like instead of Moses, I'm saying Moshe. Okay, it was only temporary, as it says in the Devarim, for at present you have not come into the resting place and the inheritance. I'm only doing the English because it will take too long, but you can look at the Hebrew on your own. Okay, so that's number one. Okay. 2, after the Jews entered the land of Israel, they erected the Mishkan in Gilgal during the 14 years in which they conquered and divided the land. It took 7 years to conquer, 7 years to divide. From there, they came to Shiloh, built a house of stone, and spread the curtains of the Mishkan over it. So, although there were walls, there was no roof. That's why it's still called the Mishkan, because it had no roof. The Mishkan in Shiloh stood for 369 years. When Eli died, you know the story of Eli and Hannah, Shon's baby, that was Eli Kohen Gadol. So when he died, it was destroyed. Afterwards, they came to Nov and built a Mishkan there, right? That was the story when David Melech ran away, and the prophets of Nov protected him, and then they were killed. Okay, so that was Nov. Then when Shmuel died, it was destroyed. And then they came to Givon and built a Mishkan there, and that was 57 years. Between Nov and Givon together was 57 years. Okay?
It's no in the Golan?
My geography is terrible.
No,
Huh?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
it's not the same. Or it's not
it's
the
all
same.
in the
It's
middle.
not.
It's all in the middle.
Okay, and from Givon they came to the eternal structure, right, in Yerushalayim. The days, I would love to give a whole class on the fascinating story of David, but we are learning another. The days of the Mishkan stood in, okay, we have 57 years.
No, because
They had is interesting. I think at one point they actually had 2 on Kodesh, one that went out to war with him. That was a whole story with the Plishtim, it was captured.
And then he came back to Beit Shemesh.
Beit Shemesh.
Yes,
Nice.
the Plishtim, they were having all kinds of problems.
Okay.
And for like what I heard time, every city they went to, they got some kind of makkah, and then they sent it back. They just let the cow go. Beit Shemesh didn't know what to do, so it ended up going to Kiryat Ye'arim.
Okay.
And I think that's where David and Melech.
Okay, that's very cool. So when we I don't know if I'm going to be doing another class, but if I do, we'll talk about the Aron. It's in the Rambam. It's going to sound like a story, but we're going to see it's actually in the Rambam. The whole history of the Aron is very fascinating.
Where's that?
Is that in the?
It's as the Rambam actually talks about it. We'll if we have time, we'll get into that if I do it. But the Rambam's halacha book. It's not a history book. So there's a whole that needs explaining.
Right,
Okay,
right.
Okay, number 3. Once the temple was built in Jerusalem, it became forbidden to build a Mishkan for God or to offer sacrifices in any other place. There is no Mishkan for all generations except in Yerushalayim and specifically on Har HaMoriah. Okay, as it says, and David declared, this is the house of Hashem your God, and this is the altar for the burnt offerings of Israel. And it says in Tehillim 132, this is my resting place forever. Now this is not, doesn't seem to be halacha. There's a little bit of like history put into there, and we have to question that as well. And sometimes the Rambam is telling us a halacha, but you may not realize what halacha is telling us, if you know what I'm saying. In other words, we need to know this. Now the Rambam doesn't explicitly say here, because, and this is go back to why the Rambam chooses to call it the chosen house and not the holy house. Because Hashem is going to choose it, because when Hashem chooses something, it is not dependent on anything else. No one can make Hashem choose something. The truth is that real choice is a whole, there's another discussion, but real choice, the only real choice is if it's not something that pushes you to make you want to choose something. So the fact that later on we're going to read in the Rambam that when it talks about the Mizbeach, the Rambam's going to quote, "Oh, did you know that Adam HaRishon brought an offering to Hashem in the exact place where the Beit HaMikdash was going to be?" And not only that, Cain and Heva brought their sacrifices in that same spot on Har HaMoriah. And not only that, but Noach later on, after the flood, offers a sacrifice in that same spot. And not only that, but Avraham Avinu too, by the Akedah, when he doesn't end up killing Yitzchak, he brings an offering of a ram down that same spot. And again, it's very strange because it's not. Sorry?
Burning bush over there also?
No,
The burning bush was where the Hasina.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was in the middle. Yeah. So.
No, but Yaakov's dream.
Right, Yaakov's
Yeah,
dream. was
Yaakov's
on
dream.
her.
Yeah, so Hashem made it.
Yeah.
Even though it was in Beit Kel, he made the land fold over and Okay, so the point is, the point of all this, of saying all of this is that it's telling us that this was chosen. It's what's it called when you? It seems like it was chosen all the way back from the creation, because why did Adam and Noah and all those people? Because they knew not that it was chosen, but that it was going to be chosen. Because if it had been chosen before, they would not have been allowed, no one would have been allowed to go on that mountain, Har HaMoriah, if they weren't pure. All the time they were in Eretz Yisrael, 400 years until they built the Beit HaMikdash, everyone was allowed to make a picnic up there. It was no problem. But once Hashem chose it, and Hashem only chose it at the time when it came to build the Beit HaMikdash. But because they had Rechov HaPalmach, all those people, and they knew it was going to be chosen, so they wanted to choose to use that place. But something that Hashem chooses is not bound by anybody else's, influenced by anybody else's actions. So that's what makes it holy. Hashem's choosing it makes it holy. And therefore, since the Rambam brings in all those people to tell us that holiness, once it was built, remains holy forever. Which is why today we have the law that we are not allowed today to go up. I know it may be disputed, and that's no, it is allowed to go up. But standard Orthodox rabbis generally say that it is not allowed to go up Har HaMoriah because we are not pure until we are made pure with the ashes of the Paradama. Okay, so now then the Rambam goes on to say in 5, he lists the actual, so we can look at the building for this, okay? So, and he says, what are we building? What is it? So he says you have 3 parts that make up the Hechal. Hechal might be called the palace in Old Hebrew maybe. Okay, so what is the 3 parts that make up the Hechal? That is this building you are looking at inside these walls. That is
You're saying the Hechal is the whole building?
Yeah, the whole building, which includes 3 parts, Rammam tells us. There are 3 parts in this building. The first part is all the way at the back, which is west, the most western part. That's the Holy of Holies, which was like a third of the length. That's the part that I'm not good at. The measurements.
The part behind the top.
No, all of it, all the whole height, but the length, not the height, the length, all the way at the back was the Holy of Holies.
But you're saying the Holy of Holies is in back of this?
Of that building. Exactly.
But
exactly.
back here in this little section back.
No, the big building, the big high building that you're talking about. Ah, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry, I was understood. The main part of this is called holy, kodesh, just holy. And in the Holy of Holies was the Aron. Next to the Aron was what? Anybody know what was kept next to the Aron? The mon, did you say? Yes, the mon in a little jar,
Right.
screwed very tight. So the manna, forever, it's still there.
Forever.
When we get to chapter 4, if we ever get there, well, the Ram tells us it's still there. It's hidden together with the Aron. And something else, anybody know? The staff of Aaron that miraculously budded when he was challenged whether he was Korach challenged him. So Hashem made that miracle, right? Remember in Korach, and it budded in an almond, right? And that they kept that. They put it together with them. It's still there today. Okay, the holies. What's in the holies? The main part of the Heichal, the menorah, not the holy of holies, just holies. The showbread, the bread, the table of bread,
So
and
that's the space
the golden
between-
altar.
That's the space between the tall part on the fence in the middle.
Between the tall part, it's inside this building.
All the tall
It's
part.
still part,
Everything she's saying is in the tall part. It's
I
all
thought you said the
inside it.
three things inside the tall part.
This is very tiny, but
There are 3 areas.
I made it as if it like has X-ray that you can see in. So it's still inside the building. You have the menorah on the southern side. Or is it the northern side? I always mix up those two. Yeah, the showbread and the golden altar. Where they did the incense. That was the incense.
Out there, what they pull in the fullest.
No, just holies, not the holy of holies.
I don't understand what you're saying.
What
The cherubim was on top of the Aron HaKodesh.
So first you said this tall part,
What tall part? The whole building.
no, this part of the building that's higher than the rest of the building.
Esther.
This part,
Yeah,
that contains Aaron.
wait, hold on. I don't know what you're looking at and what you're referring to. This is one building. There's only one building here.
Yes, but there's this whole thing, this whole.
Yeah, but it
That's
was,
the Heichal.
yes, no. The Heichal was the three parts.
Huh?
The Heichal are the 3 parts of the building. The whole thing is called the Beit HaMikdash,
Okay,
but in the building is divided into 3, and together it's called the Heichal.
I thought the building was called the Heichal.
Yes, just the building itself is called the Heichal.
Or is that something else?
Is that
That's
what-
all the holy?
As we said, it was split into 3. So the middle part is called the holies, the kodesh.
what do you mean by
Doshim.
the middle part? I don't
You can't.
understand.
You have a room.
It's all
and it's
inside-
Oh,
inside this square part.
yes.
When you say the kadosh, is that the same thing as?
No.
No, so Kodesh Kodesh, the holy of holies. That was Aron HaKodesh. Just holies, the menorah, the shulchan, and the mizbeach hazahav.
It's not,
It's not. That was
because it's part of this, it's down here.
It's
Down
here.
here.
It's like here.
It was
It's
a
the
retaining
waiting
wall.
wall is a retaining wall that held the whole building together.
So it's
It's a wall that was
It's not
around.
part of-
it.
It's not one of these walls.
not in.
Imagine another wall around. Is that another wall?
They have the wall here.
This might be this wall. Yeah, I think that's one of the part of that wall.
It was where it's the wall, not the wall, right?
It's part. The kotel is part of the surrounding wall. That's not called the Beit HaMikdash, obviously, right?
Right.
Okay, but it's still holy, and that's why some people won't even put letters inside the wall. They won't even touch it. I think most people do, but there is a holiness still attached to the kotel. Finally, the olam is like a hallway that was an entrance before you get to the holies. Not the holy of holies, the holies. I don't know. There was and that's where they brought out the showbread. It was baked every single week, and it was taken into the olam. And every week, the kohanim were given the bread from the last week. They ate the bread from the last week that was still fresh, and the kohanim would make new bread and put it on these golden trays to bake. No, the trays that was put on to eat were gold, but the trays that were actually the whole table was gold, but I think the trays themselves, I don't think they were gold. I think they were like copper or something, no, something that was easy to bake. Now you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question, like,
Well, 1 second, Leah. Judy was just asking, and then I'll come back.
Where's the part of the picture where people are going up to the temple now? They're not allowed.
So no one was allowed.
All of this,
Here, like this one.
all of this around.
That's where they're going now.
Okay, so well, yeah, just answer the question. So no,
This part is inside, no, now this part is inside the mosque. But this part all around is not.
So even that, there's different opinions. But no, anyway, even at that time, no one was allowed in this building at all, except for the Kohanim whose jobs who had, were working at that time. They were allowed in there. That was it. Now outside of that, if you can see little white Mizbeach, tiny, yeah, that's in a courtyard, okay. And again, only somebody who was pure and needed to bring a korban, they wouldn't necessarily shecht or bring up the korban. The kohen would do that, but they would be allowed to bring the korban there. And what's the four? You see the 4 chambers, the outer courtyard, the 4 chambers. That was called the Ezrat Nashim. It was called the Ezrat Nashim, the women's courtyard. When you see the 4, So above, all around here were galleries, what we would call maybe galleries. It got these steps, and the women would watch. Especially they would come Simcha Beit HaSheva when sukkahs are dancing. So then they would go up there, and it was we have the whole Indian of not mixing men and women. I mean, we have the whole Indian for many things, but that is an example where we see that where they wouldn't mix. They would sit separately and watch from above over there.
Right, so what?
No, 1 second. I think.
I just want to go back. The 3 things inside: the shulchan, the incense altar, and what was the third thing?
And the menorah.
No.
Yes. Did you have a question?
Remember the list?
Sima, did you have a
Well,
question?
some of us went on a deal to Arne Shoma where we made the bread.
Oh yeah, I had it on that.
So said that they had to make nowadays a mold for the shape, right? The shape of the bread.
Yeah.
And they found that they didn't make it up. The only thing that these perfect paper, but the only thing that the dough would not stick to was 100% gold. So they
100% gold.
molds originally made out of gold.
You said what it would not stick to.
It would not
Would not
stick
stick to the
Gold
gold.
would melt.
Anything else.
So, like,
would
it's
not
So you're saying
stick
it had to be made from gold.
gold.
I thought I read that it was moved from not gold to gold. Okay, so I'll have to check up
The
on that.
mold, not sure the shells, it's the mold that they made.
Oh, but
No,
but
but
usually the
baking,
shell, yeah, that's what you would bake on. So I was going to check. Okay, we only have a short amount of time, and I want to do the last part of this chapter. Okay, now the last part of this chapter moves on to talk about. We're not gonna. I want to. It's not in pages, so let me see. Page 1, 2.
What's the number?
Oh, okay, yeah.
What's the number?
Number 8. You can go to number 8. We did discuss a lot of what is written there already, just orally. But if you go to number 8, okay, let's look at number 8. It says as follows.
Next to last.
No, I think it's one before the next to last.
Like Yom Kippur, John Gadol didn't think spice.
5,
Yeah. Spice.
8.
Part of the
Yeah.
but it was not inside the holy.
Yes, that he put into the Holy
But
Place.
it's supposed to be the bread must be inside the holy.
Not to the Mizbeach, to the Aron. He brought it to the Aron. He prepared it on the Mizbeach HaZahar in the Holies, and then he went into the Holy of Holies and he offered it up there, and he put the incense on the coals, and it would smoke in the Holy of
He was
Holies.
holding a pan.
But
But happened on a pan in the Holy of Holies.
No, but it did start off. It started off.
They put something in their head and bring it to.
Exactly.
But he was holding a pan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Okay, so let's look at number 8. Let's see what it says. When we build the temple and the courtyard, we must use large stones. Now, if stones cannot be found, we may build with bricks. Now, that's interesting. Now, we may not split the stones used for the building on the Temple Mount, meaning that emphasis here is you can't split it on top of the Temple Mount. Rather, we must split and chisel them outside and afterwards bring them in. As it says, and they brought great stones, costly stones, to lay the foundations of the house with hewn stone. Furthermore, it says, neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron was heard in the house while it was being built. Okay, so we all know that's why when we were little in school, the teachers would tell us, no, we would be like, in break time, we would just like sit on the tables because we weren't learning. So the teachers would come in and say, who remembers it? Does anybody hear that from the teachers? Meaning that the table is compared to a mizbeach, which is why some people take a knife off of the table when they bench, because it's like the mizbeach where there was no iron allowed. That's why the stones were not allowed. Even the stones of building any part of the Beis HaMikdash was not allowed to be cut with iron, because iron traditionally is used for warfare and to make weapons and stuff like that. And then it says we must not build with any wood protruding at all, only stone, bricks, or cement. Similarly, we must not make wooden chambers in the courtyard. Rather, they also were made of stone or of brick. And 10, go to 10, costly stones were laid on the floor of the entire courtyard. Stones which were uprooted from their fixture are invalidated, even though they remained in place since they were impaired.
What does that mean?
If they, sometimes a tile breaks, right? So then they weren't allowed to. It says, well, the halacha that's affected by that happening is a priest is forbidden to stand upon them during the temple service until they became fixed in the ground again. So it was considered like.
So if a paving stone came loose.
Yeah.
Then you couldn't stand that.
And the source for this halacha, I don't know if he says it next, but the source for this halacha is the pasuk that we mentioned before about in Devarim, where Hashem says, destroy all the idol worship. They make the idol worship from trees and also stones, and you have to destroy. And then Hashem says, and this you shall not do to my home. So because we have to destroy idol worship, and we are not allowed to destroy God's home, so even a little break in the stone invalidates that stone, because then it's like what we have to do to the nations. So that's the basis for this halacha. Now, we don't have time. There's a little. Okay, we don't have time to read this whole thing, unfortunately. But I'll just end off by telling you one interesting thing about this halacha of the stones. That the Rammam is actually in chapter 2. The Rammam says something like, even if like a shochet, when he has to check his knife, what he does is he runs his nail along the isn't he? He runs his nail along, and if there is a nick, like if it's not smooth, then he has to fix the knife before he can use it. So the Rammam uses this example as what disqualifies a brick or stone. If you run your finger along and there's a tiny nick, that already disqualifies the stone. Okay, but then in 17, I don't know if it's 17 or page, check if you want, he uses another expression, and he's talking about the Mizbeach, and he says that it's in Hebrew it's called kosher. Kosher means all, any kind of nick or impairment or damage to the stone disqualifies the Mizbeach. So the question is asked, wait, which one is it? Is it your nail, or is it kosher? And what's the difference? I mean, if you go along with your nail and you find a nick, that's pretty small. So why do you have to say kosher? What's the difference? Kosher means at all, any blemish, any breakage at all. What is the difference? Now you would think, which one do you think is smaller? Huh?
The kosher.
The kosher is smaller.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
with the convenes.
It's a good example. Very good example, because kosher is actually not a measure. That is a difference. The smallest measure is still a measure. Now, what's the difference? Why did Rambam say these two? Because the first one he's bringing for before the Mizbeach is built. You have a stone. You're preparing it to build a Mizbeach. How smooth does it have to be? Not even a nail going into it. But once the Mizbeach is built, then it's kosher. Then it has become sanctified. You're using it now for Hashem's house. And what I haven't read this anywhere, but just because, we always learn about how the Beis HaMikdash is Hashem's house, and that we are trying to build Hashem's house inside of us. And that everything has to be so clean, and we're so careful about everything. And same too with us. And also our relationships with each other and with Hashem. So I just thought maybe this is trying to tell us that we're trying to do our best to make ourselves that the Shekhinah shall be able to dwell in us. And then a higher level is that once that's done, kosher, meaning what? If we hurt Hashem, even in such a small way that a person says, come on, it's like not even a nail thing. You can't even see it. You can't even measure it. It's so petty, right? Like people have different levels of what's it called when you sensitivity. Thank you. So like I remember I once had a discussion with my sister about adverts. Gosh, adverts in the street. You have these women sprawled out half naked. I'm like, I can't stand it. It's like, stop being so sensitive. So what it is? It's not a mitzvah. Well, what do we expect, right? But it's like sometimes we develop a sensitivity to kedusha, and once we've developed that sensitivity, we become aware that what kosher. That means you might not be able to convince somebody else that something is not right, or it's like I'll just end up with this story. There's something called pasnish, right? So basically, I'll tell you a very cute story. Not appropriate. Yes, I'll tell you cute stories. Rabbi Rammam, he's the one who just passed away a few years ago in Corona. Okay, so he told this story that when he was a child, his father was a rabbi. He was a doctor and brilliant and knew a lot of Torah, but he chose to become was he a psychologist or psychiatrist? Psychiatrist. But his father and his father's father and father, they were all obeying. And when he was a little boy, like 9 years old.
He was a rabbi.
Yes, Rabbi Tversky, of course. Rabbi Dr. Tversky. So when he was a little boy, they once had a guest, and the guest came to the house, and I think it was Shabbos. Yeah, I think it was Shabbos. I don't think it was Dafka like Rosh. It may have been like a Yom Tov, but I'm not sure. But it was definitely at least Shabbos. Anyway, he ended up playing chess with this guest. And his father found out that he was playing chess on Shabbos. Now, if you learn the book of halachas on Shabbos, technically, if it's all already arranged, then you can play chess on Shabbos. However, his father wasn't happy about it. His father said, come into my office. He knocked on the door and is coming as like a father, son to father, or chassid to a rabbi, or a little bit of both. And his father was like, no, like what happened there? So he's like, what? It's allowed. So he says, like pasnish. You may be able to find a source of lach it's allowed, but pasnish. But the beautiful ending to this story is that before he went out, he gave him a little, like, in a nice way, but he gave him like a little kind of telling off. But before he left the room, he said to him, no, did you win? So
That's a validation.
he told the story to teach us how to be machanech. So anyway, I give us all the blessings that we merit to see the Beis HaMikdash. Okay, so
Thank you. Forgot about it.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you so much.
Also, everybody, there's a box on the table, like a paper this year, it's 20 shekels.
Mordechai ben Yitzchak, this was in, this year was in honor of the memory of Mordechai ben Yitzchak. I don't know, do you keep them? I'll keep one.
Yeah.
You can keep them.
This is the section right now.
Isn't that amazing? I forgot to say that about it. I didn't check today. But it's like
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Glad you came.